Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I'm Anuja Kumar and with me is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the Midday News. The headlines. In Bihar, polling is underway for the second phase of state assembly elections amid tight security arrangements. Campaigning for third phase gains momentum. Polling for by-elections underway for 53 assembly seats in 10 states. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to nearly 92%. U.S. presidential poll today to elect a new president. In IPL cricket, Sunrisers Hyderabad to take on Mumbai Indians in Sharjah this evening. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these three simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now, the news in detail. In Bihar, polling is underway for the second phase of state assembly elections amid tight security arrangements. Polling is being held in 94 constituencies spread over 17 districts including Patna, Vaishali, Sitamarhi, Darbhanga and Madhubani in this phase. Around 32.82% of the eligible voters exercised their franchise till 1 p.m. Voting began at 7 a.m. and it will close at 6 p.m. Over 2.86 crore voters will decide the fate of 1,463 candidates. They include 146 women and 1 transgender. Elaborate security arrangements have been made to ensure free and fair polling. Chief Electoral Officer H.R. Srinivas said polling will be up to 4 p.m. in 8 Naxal-affected constituencies including Raghupur, Paru, Meenapur and Alauli. Out of 41,362 booths, 8,694 booths are sensitive. Election Commission has made arrangements of live webcasting from 3,548 booths. The Election Commission has issued orders to follow COVID-19 protocol during the conduct of elections. Every person has been instructed to wear mask during election-related activities. The BJP is contesting on 46 seats, JDU on 43 and Vikassheel Insan Party on 5 seats in this phase. While RJD is contesting on 56 seats, Congress has fielded 24 candidates, LJP has fielded 52 candidates, RLSP 36, BSP 33 and NCP 29 candidates. Now we go over live to our correspondent KK Lal for latest updates there. Hello KK Lal.
Hello. Anuja.
Mr. Lal, please tell us about the voters' response and their mood, especially in the view of coronavirus pandemic. Do you see any change as compared to that of the first phase?
Anuja, this time I am at booth number of 114 of Bankipur Assembly Constituency in Patna. People are very enthusiastic in exercising their right of franchise. Elderly and women wearing masks are also standing in queue to vote. Long queue is being seen at many booths. Voting percentage is likely to be more this time in comparison to the first phase of elections. Anuja, the election is being held amid COVID pandemic. In view of this, special arrangements have been made. Wearing mask is mandatory for all electorates. Thermal screening of all persons is being carried out and sanitizers are available at all locations. All polling booths have been sanitized before polling. Anuja?
Mr. Lal, please also tell us about the security arrangements at the polling booths and working of the EVMs. Is there any distinguishing feature?
Tight security arrangements have been made to ensure free and fair polls. Jawans of Central Paramilitary Forces have been deployed at each booth. People are exercising their right of franchise fearlessly. River patrolling is also being undertaken in riverine areas. Helicopters have also been placed into service to meet any eventuality. Non-functioning of EVM was reported from some places, but later EVMs were changed. Anuja?
Thank you, Mr. Lal, for the updates. In Bihar, campaigning for third and final phase of elections is in full swing in 78 assembly constituencies spread over 15 districts. Polling will be held on 7th of November for this phase. All the star campaigners and senior leaders have hectic schedules and they are addressing multiple rallies in support of their candidates. Senior party leaders of NDA and the Grand Alliance are leaving no stone unturned to woo the voters. For Valmiki Nagar parliamentary seat, by-election polling will also be held simultaneously in the third phase. More from our correspondent.
In NDA, Union Ministers Nityanand Rai and R.K. Singh addressed public meetings in Sitamarhi, Madhubani and Saharsa. Addressing an election rally in Benipatti in Madhubani, Mr. Rai claimed that people of Bihar will again show their faith in NDA. He said the BJP-JDU-led alliance will sweep in the assembly elections. Bhojpuri film actor Dinesh Lal Yadav Nirahua with state BJP President Sanjay Jaiswal addressing public meetings in Bhojpuri speaking belts of East and West Champaran. Chief Minister Nitish Kumar addressed public meetings in Bahadurpur and Benipatti in Darbhanga and Madhubani. He said, if voted to power, his next target will be solar power revolution in the state. Later in the day, he will address 5 election rallies. RJD leader Tejaswi Prasad Yadav will hold 12 rallies today. Addressing a rally in Bajpati in Sitamarhi, he alleged that Chief Minister Nitish Kumar is opportunistic. He said, this time a change of leadership in the state will take place. Other leaders of opposition parties like Congress, LJP, RLSP and left parties are also holding public meetings in poll-bound segments. Dharmendra Kumar Rai, AIR News, Patna.
Senior Congress leader Rahul Gandhi will hold 2 public meetings in Katihar and Kishanganj today.
Prime Minister and senior BJP leader Narendra Modi has said the NDA government follows the mantra of Sabka Vishwas, Sabka Vikas and works for the development of all sections of people. Seeking votes in favor of NDA at an election rally at Farbisganj in Araria district, Mr. Modi said there was a time when Bihar was only recognized because of all the negative things. He said he does not need to tell people who were responsible for this negative image of the state. Mr. Modi said the public cannot be fooled for long. Look at what condition the public has put Congress party in. Today they do not even have a total of 100 MPs in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. People still punish them whenever there is a chance. The BJP leader said people of Bihar have shown the world that they are very enthusiastic about democracy and they have come out to vote even in times of coronavirus. Mr. Modi congratulated the Election Commission for the conduct of elections in such tough times with extra preparations and precautions. In Madhya Pradesh, voting for by-polls in 28 assembly seats in the state is going on peacefully and as per the COVID-19 guidelines. Around 38.72% polling was recorded till 1 p.m. There were also complaints of malfunctioning of EVM machines at some places, while a firing incident was reported outside a polling center in Murena.
The by-elections in Madhya Pradesh were necessitated after 22 MLAs of erstwhile Congress government switched over to the BJP in March 2020, leading to the fall of Kamal Nath-led 15-month-old government. A total of 355 candidates, including 14 ministers, are in the fray for by-polls to these 28 seats in the state. Around 33,000 security personnel have been deployed in 19 districts where these constituencies fall, and all preparations have been made to hold free and fair polls. As many as 9,361 booths have been set up for people to exercise their franchise, and out of these 3,038 are placed under the critical category. In most of the seats, there is a direct fight between BJP and Congress, while in 2 or 3 seats of Gwalior-Chambal region, a triangular contest is on the cards in the wake of BSP's presence. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
In Gujarat, average 32% voter turnout was recorded in the by-elections of 8 assembly seats till 1 p.m. Quoting official sources, our correspondent reports that tribal constituencies of Dang and Kaprada have recorded maximum turnout during the early hours. Polling is being held for 8 seats, which include Abadasa, Limbdi, Morbi, Dhari, Karjan, Gadhada, SC, and Dang and Kaprada, ST seats. More than 18,17,000 voters, including more than 9 lakh women voters, are eligible to cast their votes. A report.
Polling for by-elections of 8 seats in Gujarat is peacefully underway. Women voters in tribal constituencies of Dang and Kaprada have shown enthusiasm. Dang constituency has already recorded more than 50% turnout till 1 p.m. Even in urban constituencies like Morbi, voters' turnout is picking up as the day progresses. 95-year-old Diwaliben Bhanderi and 97-year-old Laljibai Kakadia cast their votes in Chalala of Dhari Assembly constituency early today. Polling will continue till 6 p.m. COVID-19 guidelines are being strictly followed at all polling booths. Voters are being allowed to vote after thermal screening and sanitization of hands. Yogesh Pandya, AR News, Ahmedabad.
In Chhattisgarh, polling is progressing peacefully for by-election in Marwahi Assembly constituency. Around 41.46% polling was recorded till 1 p.m. More from our correspondent.
In the wake of COVID-19 pandemic, special precautions are being taken in polling stations during Marwahi Assembly by-election in Chhattisgarh. Availability of thermal scanner, hand gloves, sanitizer, soap and water were ensured at polling stations. Voters maintained social distancing and wore masks while they stood in queues to cast their votes across different polling booths. Voters are being screened through thermal scanners at polling booths. Masks and gloves are also being given to voters and they have been asked to maintain physical distancing at the polling station. Vikalp Shukla, AIR News, Raipur.
In Karnataka, the polling for state assembly by-election to Sira and RR Nagar is progressing peacefully. Sira reported 44.13% voter turnout, while the turnout remained at 26.58% in RR Nagar within Bangalore city till 1 p.m. There are 15 candidates in fray in Sira and 16 in RR Nagar constituency. BJP, Congress and JDS have fielded the candidates in both the constituencies. There are 330 polling booths in Sira and 678 in RR Nagar. More from a correspondent.
Ample precautions are taken during the first election to be held under the shadow of pandemic in the state. Masks, gloves and thermal screening were seen in all the booths. The police personnel ensured social distancing. There are 3,857 personnel deployed for the election management in Sira, and in RR Nagar 9,515 personnel are deployed. These include micro-observers, state police, 6 companies of Central Armed Police Forces and ballot unit technical staff. In this election, M3 EVMs are being used as they have long-lasting batteries and can connect with up to 24 ballot units as against 4 ballot units in M2 model. It can also accommodate 384 candidates as against 64 candidates in the M2 model. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
In Jharkhand, polling for by-election in Dumka and Burmu assembly constituencies is going on in full swing. Till 1 p.m., 46.07% votes were cast in Burmu assembly constituency and 46.96% votes were cast in Dumka Assembly constituency. The voting of both the constituency is going on peacefully.
In Nagaland, voting in 99 polling stations of the 2 assembly seats in Nagaland is underway today for the state by-elections, in which over 43,000 voters will decide the fate of 8 candidates in fray. A total of 71.92% voters turnout was recorded till 1 p.m. for both the 2 constituencies. Poll percentage of 78.75 was recorded in 60 Pungro Kifire and 57.1% in Southern Angami 1. Polling process, which began at 6 a.m., is being conducted peacefully in all the polling stations. The polling process will come to an end at 4 p.m. Chief Electoral Officer Abhijit Sinha said all arrangements has been done for conduct of the by-poll in a peaceful, free, fair and safe manner. Counting of votes will take place on 10th of November. In Uttar Pradesh, all 10 candidates have been declared elected unopposed to the Rajya Sabha. 8 BJP candidates and 1 each from Samajwadi Party and Bahujan Samaj Party were declared elected unopposed to the upper house yesterday. The BJP candidates declared elected include Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri, Arun Singh, Haridwar Dubey, Brij Lal, Neeraj Shekhar, Geeta Shakya, Seema Dwivedi and B.L. Verma. Professor Ram Gopal Yadav of the Samajwadi Party and BSP's Ramji Gautam were also elected to the upper house. Bharatiya Janata Party candidate Naresh Bansal was declared elected unopposed to the Rajya Sabha from Uttarakhand. He will replace Mr. Raj Babbar from Congress, whose term comes to an end on the 25th of this month.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. In Bihar, polling is underway for the second phase of state assembly elections amid tight security arrangements. Campaigning for third phase gains momentum. Polling for by-elections underway for 53 assembly seats in 10 states. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to nearly 92%. US presidential poll today to elect a new president. In IPL cricket, Sunrisers Hyderabad to take on Mumbai Indians in Sharjah this evening. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो खुद से वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back. The first phase of the 24th edition of the Malabar Naval Exercise has begun in Visakhapatnam, Bay of Bengal today. The Indian Navy, United States Navy, Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force and the Royal Australian Navy are taking part in the naval exercise. It will continue till the 6th of this month. According to the Ministry of Defence, the exercise being conducted as a non-contact at sea only in view of COVID-19 pandemic will showcase the high levels of synergy and coordination between the friendly navies, which is based on their shared values and commitment to an open, inclusive Indo-Pacific and a rules-based international order. The 24th edition of the Malabar Naval Exercise is scheduled in 2 phases during the current month. Malabar 20 Phase 1 will witness complex and advanced naval exercises, including surface, anti-submarine and anti-air warfare operations, cross-deck flying, seamanship evolutions and weapon firing exercises. The Phase 2 of Malabar 20 is scheduled to be conducted in the Arabian Sea in mid-November. The United States will go to polls today to elect a new president. Both candidates, President Donald Trump and Joe Biden, made their last-ditch efforts yesterday to woo the voters. Trump campaigned in Michigan, Iowa, North Carolina, Georgia and Florida. Biden held multiple events in Philadelphia as he seeks to win Pennsylvania. Nearly 9.2 crore Americans have already cast their votes that could take days or weeks to be counted in some states. A winner might not be declared in the hours after polling closes tonight.
Government today said that the country's COVID-19 recovery rate has reached nearly 92%. During the last 24 hours, more than 58,000 COVID patients have recovered. As per the Health Ministry, the total number of recoveries has gone up to over 76 lakh. The actual caseload currently comprises only 6.55% of the total positive cases. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is 5,41,000. During the past 24 hours, 38,310 new cases were reported, taking the total number of positive cases in the country to over 82 lakh. Currently, India's case fatality rate is at 1.49%, which is one of the lowest globally. During the last 24 hours, 490 deaths were reported, taking the toll to 1,23,097. According to the Indian Council of Medical Research, more than 10,46,000 tests were conducted in the last 24 hours. The total number of samples tested so far has reached 11 crore 17 lakh. In Telangana, 1,536 new cases of COVID-19 were reported in the past 24 hours. With this, the total COVID cases in the state went up to 2,42,506. The state conducted over 45,000 tests yesterday. The recovery rate continued to be at 92.12%, with 1,421 more people recovering yesterday. This took the number of recovered people so far in the state to 2,23,413. The daily bulletin issued by the State Medical and Health Department stated that total deaths rose to 1,351, following 3 more people succumbing to COVID and comorbidities during the past 24 hours.
In Mizoram, the state government has extended restrictions in the Aizawl municipal areas for further 6 days from today till the early morning of the 9th of this month. The decision was taken by the State Disaster Management Authority yesterday to flatten the curve of transmission of COVID-19 in the state, particularly in Aizawl city. Also, the No Tolerance Fortnight is being observed statewide to strictly follow the COVID-19 guidelines. The state government had earlier imposed partial lockdown in Aizawl municipal area from 27th of October to 2nd November to break the chain of transmission due to the rise of infected people in the capital city. This was also ordered to keep functioning offices with 70% attendance. Movement of transport has also been barred except government vehicles and transport carrying essential commodities. The Lingpui airport remained operational. In Maharashtra, the COVID-19 Diagnosis Center at Rashtra Sant Tukdoji Maharaj Nagpur University has completed 10,000 tests in just 2 months. The center, which began on 25th of August with an average of 171 samples per day, has crossed the milestone of 10,000 tests in a span of 2 months. A report.
The Office of Nagpur District Surgeon and Nodal Officer for COVID-19 has appointed 4 technicians, 2 data entry operators and 1 microbiologist for testing at the Diagnosis Center at Rashtra Sant Tukdoji Maharaj Nagpur University. The facilities available in the laboratory are limited to analyzing 50 samples per day. However, the entire team working in the laboratory has crossed the 10,000 tests in just 2 months. More than 15 student volunteers from the Department of Biotechnology, Biochemistry and Pharmacy of Nagpur University are also working tirelessly in this diagnosis center. The dedicated service of this team has enabled rapid analysis of samples, timely reporting and inspection of the samples beyond their actual capacity. Madhuri Pange, AIR News, Mumbai.
The News Services Division of All India Radio in its bilingual live phone-in program tonight will bring a special discussion on COVID-19. Dr. Anupam Prakash, Professor of Medicine, Lady Hardinge Medical College, will participate in the discussion. Listeners can ask questions to the experts on toll-free telephone number 1-800-11-5767. One can also ask questions on telephone number 011-2331-4444 and post queries on a Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts by hashtag AskAIR. This can be heard on the FM Gold channel and edition frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. This program will also be available on our website newsonair.com and on our YouTube channel News on AIR Official. You can also follow us on the News on AIR app for updates. Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar has said that the Panna Tiger Reserve in Madhya Pradesh has now been declared a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve. In a tweet, Mr. Javadekar congratulated Panna Tiger Reserve for the amazing work on tiger conservation.
The legendary violinist T.N. Krishnan passed away in Chennai last night. He was 92. The eminent violinist is a recipient of several coveted awards and titles, including Padma Vibhushan. A tribute.
The renowned violinist Tirupunitura Narayanayar Krishnan started his famous journey into the musical world as a child prodigy and went on to perform with great legends of his times. Born in Kerala in 1928, the world of music brought him to Chennai at an early age in 1942, and he started performing with great musical luminaries like Ariyakudi Ramanuja Iyengar, Alathur Brothers, Chembai Vaidyanatha Bhagavathar and Maharajapuram Vishwanatha Iyer. He used to greet the music lovers on every Christmas day and play jingle bells before his packed audience at Music Academy in Chennai. He also served as the Dean of the School of Music and Fine Arts, University of Delhi. His Shishyas and Rasikas both remember him as a great mentor. The legend T.N. Krishnan will be remembered with great reverence for his gracious musical performances and also as an inspiring personality for long. Jai Singh, AIR News, Chennai.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has expressed grief over the passing away of the legendary violinist T.N. Krishnan. In a tweet, Mr. Naidu said his death is a big loss to the music world, particularly Carnatic music. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also expressed grief over the demise of T.N. Krishnan. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said he leaves a big void in the world of music. Prime Minister said his works beautifully encapsulated a wide range of emotions and strands of the culture. Home Minister Amit Shah has also expressed grief on the passing away of T.N. Krishnan. He said as a gifted musician, T.N. Krishnan captured the imagination of several generations with his breathtaking compositions. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, in a solemn and poignant ceremony held today at the Public Relations Office, Badami Bagh Cantonment in Srinagar, all ranks paid rich tributes to late Major P. Purushottam, and 5 brave soldiers who were martyred in action on this day in 1999. Late Major P. Purushottam was posted as Public Relations Officer Defence, along with 5 of his comrades bravely fought terrorists who had launched a Fidayeen attack on his office in the evening of 3rd November 1999. Having been engaged in a hand-to-hand fight with a terrorist, he and his colleagues made the supreme sacrifice while trying to save media persons.
In Vienna, a huge manhunt is underway after gunmen opened fire at multiple locations across central Vienna, killing 2 people and wounding several. One of the gunmen was shot dead by police, who said they were hunting for at least one more assailant still at large. The attack in 6 locations, including near a synagogue in the center of the city, were carried out by several suspects armed with rifles, police said last night. The shooting began just hours before Austria was to reimpose a coronavirus lockdown, with people out in bars and restaurants enjoying a final night of relative freedom. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that he is deeply shocked and saddened by the dastardly terror attack in Vienna. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said, India stands with Austria during this tragic time. He said his thoughts are with the victims and their families. The Centre has released 2,200 crore rupees as the first installment to 15 states for the improvement of the air quality measures in their million-plus cities. The amount has been released based on the recommendations of the 15th Finance Commission. In a tweet, Office of the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that this will help the beneficiary states to undertake air quality measures, including capacity building of the local bodies within the million-plus cities. The states which have been given the amount include Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Jharkhand, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal. Of the total amount, 396.5 crore rupees has been released to Maharashtra, 202.5 crore rupees to Gujarat, 357 crore rupees to Uttar Pradesh and 209.5 crore rupees to West Bengal.
In IPL cricket, Sunrisers Hyderabad will take on Mumbai Indians in Sharjah today evening. In the last night's match, Delhi Capitals beat Royal Challengers Bangalore by 6 wickets in Abu Dhabi to ensure a top 2 finish for themselves and set up a clash against Mumbai Indians in Qualifier 1 on Thursday. RCB will finish 3rd or 4th, depending the result of the match between Sunrisers Hyderabad and Mumbai Indians today. Both teams have, however, qualified for the playoffs.
The air quality in Delhi NCR continues to remain in very poor category. According to the Central Pollution Control Board, Delhi's air quality index was recorded at 332 at 10 a.m. An air quality index between 201 and 300 is considered poor, 301 to 400 very poor, and 401 to 500 severe. The system of air quality and weather forecasting and research, SAFAR, has predicted that the air quality will continue to remain in very poor range for the next 2 days.
Now let us take a look at the weather update for the day. The temperature in national capital will hover between 13 and 29 degrees Celsius in New Delhi. In Mumbai, sky will be mainly clear. The lower level of temperature in the metropolis will be 26 degrees Celsius and the upper level will be around 32 degrees. Chennai is likely to witness partly cloudy sky. Kolkata is also expected to have partly cloudy sky with temperature varying between 24 and 32 degrees Celsius. On to the north, in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, Jammu and Srinagar cities will have mainly clear sky, but there will be much variance in temperature in Srinagar as the minimum temperature will be just 1 degree Celsius while maximum will be around 20 degrees. In Jammu, lower level of temperature will be 13 while upper level will be around 31 degrees Celsius. In Leh, sky will be mainly clear in the morning and later it will become partly cloudy. Minimum temperature will be -3 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 12 degrees. Gilgit will also see a sunny morning, but later sky will become partly cloudy, with temperature rising from 1 to 23 degrees Celsius. In Muzaffarabad, sky will be mainly clear, and the temperature will move from 7 to 28 degrees Celsius. In Dehradun, the temperature will hover between 14 and 29 degrees Celsius. The sky will be mainly clear in the morning, but later it is likely to turn partly cloudy. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. In Bihar, polling is underway for the second phase of state assembly elections amid tight security arrangements. Campaigning for third phase gains momentum. Polling for by-elections underway for 53 assembly seats in 10 states. COVID-19 recovery rate improves to nearly 92%. US presidential poll today to elect a new president. And in IPL cricket, Sunrisers Hyderabad to take on Mumbai Indians in Sharjah this evening. And with that, we end the midday news.